There was a big changing point in my life, and that was becoming type 1 diabetic. And in that diagnosis, it meant things had to change in my life, such as taking injections every day in order to basically live with insulin, and dieting, ways of exercise, and the responsibilities for taking care of myself. I was 8 years old when I got diabetes, and this meant that in hospital they started to introduce me to injecting. And I wasn't a fan of the idea of really injecting myself for the rest of my life, but it's something I had to do. And I remember the doctor kind of told me, well, you know, he come up to me with a big needle, and I said, "Get that thing away from me, behave." His name weren't Dr. Saville before you go there. His name was Dr. Glitter. But, I didn't want him to do it to me, so from day one I started injecting myself with insulin to you know, get used to things. And about day 3, the nurse come along and said to me, "You know what, your mum's got to have a go." No one's ever gone near an insulin injection for me ever again. They kind of taught mum how to do it, take aim in my leg. And so mum took aim like a dartboard, and I think I heard her say, "This is for childbirth," and completely took my leg out. So I've always done my own insulin injections from day 1.
The nurse said, "Practice on an orange, Mrs. Griffiths."
Well, you didn't practice on orange, you practiced on my blood vein, my leg. Lucky I'm running. So when I was first diagnosed, I was never actually bothered about what diabetes was, and I never thought twice about it. It sounded like some sort of Swedish mad cow disease, if I'm honest. Diabetes, I hadn't had a clue, there's no awareness for it. And so my first concern was, would I play football again? If anyone can see that picture there, that is age 9. Age 9 I was playing 11-a-side football. There's Matt Lee with curtains, which I thought was quite amusing. With his nice little curtain haircut as a 9-year-old. We lost every game about 8-0, but that's besides the point. The point was I could still play football as a diabetic, and I earned my first name in football as Chopper. I used to just chop people down, that's all I could do really, in the mud. So there's old man. If you also see, his hair now is pretty grey. There it's not so grey, so you've aged quite a bit there, old man. But I always wanted to show you could do anything you set your mind to in life, and that's not just with diabetes, but I think having diabetes made it more of a challenge to me. It made it something, if anything, it encouraged me to make something of myself a bit more, because if I didn't have diabetes, otherwise I wouldn't have done the things I've done today, which I'm about to talk about, and I wouldn't be running 30 miles a day for 30 days. But I'm not sure that's a good thing really, because who'd want to run 30 miles a day for 30 days? The other concern of being diabetic was education really. You know, I was the only kid in my primary school to have type 1 diabetes or diabetes at all. I think there might be Callum over there in the corner. He's also a type 1 diabetic like me. And, you know, he might have had a similar experience in being the only diabetic in the school. And obviously no one else knows what the hell you're doing. You know, you just look like some kid having a fit now and then. And, you know, as much as I can laugh about it, it is serious, because you know, if you have your own responsibility to look after yourself, and it's important. Like the teachers start to know about it, and back then, you know, nobody knew about it. Back when I first got diagnosed, if someone called me saying, I'd get quite upset about it. I used to, in primary school, I used to need a toilet quite often because of being high with my diabetes, and other kids would you know, make fun of me and you know, make noises to wind me up basically. And I used to get wound up quite often, and I found myself in, you know, a lot of fights, and you know, out in the park and stuff like that. People used to, who came over the bay, look at him hiding over there. he was there in them days. But yeah, I had to I never really settled into secondary school until at least year 9. Because of that, really, I never really had too many friends. I missed a lot of school in year 7. Until year 9, and then I mean, there's quite a lot of people who went to my school here today that you know, still know me. So yeah, it shows I did settle in the end. Diabetes becomes something that I used as my ally. Really, it would become me. It was me. It is me. And if I didn't have diabetes today, I wouldn't be me who I am today. So I'm pretty pleased to be a me. And
hey, woo! We're pleased you're you too, Gav.
Yeah, but in school, I actually started to use it to my advantage. it becomes something I use to my advantage, like German, Mr. Mace. I hated German. I didn't see the point of doing. Although I want to take over the world one day, German wasn't the way I wanted to do it. So there was no point in being German. So I'd stick my hand up and I'd say to the teacher, you know what, I'm having a bit of a low. And about 10 of these people over here, they were like, Gav, I'll take you out. I'll come out. I'll be your friend. And so we used to just get out of class, and that's probably why I was predicted E's for most of my GCSEs.
It's all coming out now,
And,
Gavin.
I skipped a lot of classes when I wanted to. Callum, don't listen to that. But yeah, I was predicted E's in school, and that sort of, that would say I'm not going anywhere far in life, would it? But then I went on to sixth form. I really enjoyed myself in sixth form. And then from sixth form, I also graduated from college and then university, and I've got a BA Honours degree to my name now. So it goes to show again, anything's possible if you really, try hard for it. And I got there, and as a diabetic, it certainly wasn't anything to hold me back from doing that. Next slide. I ran my first ever run. I mean, this is what we're here for, my runs, and this is what I'm best known for, is doing crazy little runs and challenges. My first run was in 2008. It was 29 miles, and I was 17 years old. I'd only just turned 17. And I remember in the press there was a little article saying, he's plucky, he's going to try, but it kind of had the feeling that I was going to fail. It was like, I wasn't even old enough to register for the London Marathon, and that's 26 miles. I was running 29 miles. So I remember I had my family here and a couple of friends about. Sean was there, Terry was there, Matt and his family. Eddie was like my trainer for the day there. He was better than Gary. He had me doing press-ups as I ran. Gary is my trainer for GBR 3030. But yeah, about to get killed. So it was against the odds for a type 1 diabetic, age 17, to run 29 miles. So in 3 hours and 1 minute, when I finished it with a sprint, I think I kind of set myself up for what I am now. It's my identity of diathlete, my own personal brand. And I defied my diabetes by completing that in 3 hours 1 minute, which some professionals would struggle to do that. And from there, I've just continued to do things. That was for my local clinics. I supported them. And the next slide would show you. I then went to do the Isle of Wight. I went to up it again. I got the adrenaline bug, which I still have now, to see me mad enough to try and run 900 miles. And the Isle of Wight was a really long way. It was 70 miles, and it was 70 miles of hills. I don't know if you can see that picture there, but the bottom one with me and Matt running, that was the kind of roads I was up against. It was just hills and long, never-ending roads. And a couple of weeks before I'd done that, I tore both ankle ligaments, one after the other. I think just being stupid, really, and messing around in school. And I was well supported by friends and family again on the Isle of Wight, but I only managed 50 miles. I ran out of time, and even though it did raise a lot, I put on a good gig with Floors and Walls playing and the special case, I was gutted, and I think the bottom picture probably shows my devastation for not being able to complete what I set out to complete. So a year later, my attitude's always been, if you don't succeed at first, keep trying and never give up. So I come back to the Isle of Wight a year later, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it another go. And please turn, when I do that, it means Right, that is Isle of Wight 2010. And as you can see, I had all kinds of diabetic effects. I had hypos. I was on the floor at one point, and Nan was giving me a right turning off. She's saying, don't have to do it. You've come so far. You've come so far, Gav. You can stop now. You proved the point. I said, Nan, there's only 2 miles left. I might as well keep going now. 70 miles. But yeah, I got through it, and it was a bit of a struggle. It was a painful experience, big hills and all sorts and hypos. But I learned from it as well. I learned how to control my diabetes better. And as you can see, I was well supported by my family. All the Broadstairs lots that have come all the way up here. And it was a great challenge for me. It meant a lot more. I mean, I probably raised more the year before, and I got more awards for it personally the year before. But I failed, in my opinion. I didn't set out what I wanted to do. And a year later, I come back and I completed it, and that meant something to me. I think that if I wasn't saying that much, just don't give up. I'm on the floor, but I'm getting up, and that's what I'm going to do with my 30-30 challenge. If I'm struggling, I'll just keep plowing away. And in the end, I completed 70 miles, and and raise a lot more for Diabetes UK. So I think it's something that helps other people with diabetes. I mean, I know there won't be that many diabetics here tonight, but you know, Callum, you're sitting there listening, and like I say to you, you know, there's anything you want to do as a diabetic, there's absolutely nothing in life that can hold you back from doing that. And don't let anyone say otherwise. I didn't run anywhere in 2011 because we lost Michael, who's my uncle. He was as good an uncle as anything to me, because he was a stepdad to my cousins, and you know, he was there every single run. Before that, he was supporting me fully. My whole family was supporting me, and it's always meant a lot to be supported. You know, people there just cheering you on and keeping you in there, and you feel a lot less pain in your legs when that's happening. And you know, Michael meant a lot because he was always there, you know, driving people about and you know, wishing me well and seeing me through. And that's what I remember Michael for. And he said something last time I saw him in 2011. He said to me, "You never know what's around the corner in life, so just live your life to the full whilst you can." And even though that sounds a simple saying, I think there's nothing truer than that. You know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to come up, you know, next in your life. And I think you should just live whilst you can. If that's going to the bar and getting absolutely drunk tonight, that's going to the bar and getting absolutely drunk tonight. But you know, live your life to the max, and that was what Mike was all about. And you know, I always remember that as well. I come back to running last year. It was a 44-mile challenge in a day, and obviously I'd been out for a while and done much runs. And so to get back into it was good, because I'd lost that adrenaline. But once you do something crazy, you just got to keep doing more crazy things. Hence what I'm doing now.
God help us.
What's coming next? I don't know. But 44 miles in a day is a long way to go, and there were some really big hills in doing that. There was Beachy Head, which is just cliff after cliff after cliff for about 5 miles. This is 20 miles in. So I had a hypo before doing that. I was sick. I was throwing up. I was, you know. I was in a bad way. Bit of a stomach cramp as well, but you don't want to know details on that when I went to the toilet. So I had to keep going through that, and I had to do these clips. Callum come for a little jog. Everyone should give Gary, where is he? Gary Gunner. He's always by the bar. He lives by a bar, that man. But to be fair to him, he cycled the whole 44 miles as well, and you know, kept up with me on his bike. And I found that really supportive and a great advantage for me. And when he couldn't go over the cliff tops that were ridiculous to Beach Head for 5 miles, Callum come for a run, and he was knackered. He was dead after that. You know, he'd done 5 miles. He didn't get up for a week. Another 20 miles to go. So it was a really big challenge. But once I saw again everyone was supporting me at the finish line, that was it. I had the adrenaline rush, and it didn't matter that I was struggling for the best part of 8 hours and 45 minutes. I thought I saw the finish line. I went. I flew. I sprint, and I finished that for JDRF, which is Type 1 Diabetes charity. And raised a lot more money for a charity, and it was good to get back into it. But after that, I thought, no, I'm not going to call it a day here. I'm going to do something bigger. And this is what this challenge is coming up is all about. It's you know, I've done these challenges that are big. They're challenging. They wear you down, but they're not going to catch the eye. I think by running 900 miles across every main city apart from London in the UK, it might make a bit of a statement this time. And yeah, there's certainly going to be a lot of media attention coming out with that. Next slide. Last year I had the pleasure of meeting Sir Steve Redgrave, who has signed some photographs for us tonight, and also he signed his latest copy of his book, which will be up for raffle prizes. And yeah, I met him, and it was a rowing day, and I'm meant to be like one of the diabetic athletes, as well as Paul Farrelly, who's the 6'7" cyclist that was in my boat. And when we was in the boat together, I kind of thought, hang on a minute, this might not be even. I'm about 5'8" here, and he's about twice the size of me. And Redgrave was actually meant to be a pilot, so he meant to be sitting in front of the boat. And he saw to another boat incident before he got in, once we had our training lesson. The guy said go left, so Paul went right, I went left, the other 2 kids in the middle, they were, you know, innocently learning, went the same way. We all kind of imbalanced each other. So I thought I'd even it out by putting my oar on the other side. I've never really done rowing before. I think I'll stick to running, sorry. The boat completely lost balance. We outweighed the 2 kids going the other way, and it capsized. And I just remember, this is Dorney Lake where the Olympic Games were. I kind of swam to the dock, and I looked up, and one of the greatest sporting legends in history, Sir Steve Redgrave, is standing right over me with his arms folded, just shook his hand, he shook his head, and he said, "Gavin, in 35 years of rowing, I've never seen that happen before." And he actually did tell me to stick to running. But to be fair, he's been quite supportive of me on this, and it was a real honour to meet him. And I'm sure he's never going to forget me in a rush now. Next slide. Last year I got the pleasure of being an Olympic torchbearer, and that's for all my previous runs and challenges. And I think that torch stands for something more than, it's just a piece of brass. If you look at it, it's just a piece of brass. But a bit like my cousin Brad. I've been up and down the country. I've talked to sport groups with diabetes, and it just means something a bit more. It just seems to encourage people. So when I'm doing the challenge, I'm going to be taking that torch with me, and it's going to be going from John O'Groats to Land's End with me, and volunteers are going to carry that torch with mainly affected by diabetes. And that day, I can't really describe how good that day was, because it was just
amazing,
gobsmacking really. I didn't know what to expect. There was thousands of people out in the street. It's like I woke up and I was Tom Cruise. I didn't mean to give Tom Cruise a compliment, but it was like that. People just asked me basically. I think even one guy asked me for the autograph, so it was kind of weird. And, but yeah, I loved it. It was amazing, and something I'll never forget again. And that was all through being diabetic. If I wasn't diabetic, I wouldn't have had that honour, to have done that on that day. So yeah, it was a really amazing thing, and I'm looking to continue that next year on my run. I also got to open the season up for Crystal Palace, the beginning of the season. So I am responsible for Palace being up the top of the league. Without me, they would not be there. It's something I always said. As a kid, I went to play for Crystal Palace. I know I'm not playing for Crystal Palace there, but to be honest, as good as it's going to get for me, I went out and I went around the pitch at Selhurst Park, and in front of my home crowd, getting applauded by everyone. And I even was still getting applauded whilst the game was going on. I mean, to be fair, it was a rubbish game, and I was probably more entertained. But it was something I'm never going to forget again. And it's another thing to say, I'm diabetic, but that's what it got me. Through having the right attitude about it, I feel, has got me to achieve those things. So the next slide will show, my upcoming challenge is this 30-mile run for 30 days across the UK. It's going to be hard. I mean, 30 miles is hard on its own, believe me. And I've had some support from Sir Jeff Hurst, David Hay, a host of names really, and Sir Steve Redgrave as well. And they're three of the best sporting legends in the country. So to have them support me has been incredible. And I can't guarantee you that I'll finish this run. I can't guarantee you that I'll be great. I'm going to give it all my all. That's coming from Ray and Gary, my trainer, and Ray, my sponsor.
Let me tell you something right now, my friend. There ain't no, I can't promise you, I can't finish this run.
We never know, I'm over.
You are finishing this run,
But I'm never going to quit.